Well, hey guys, Dave here, and I wanted to make this video because I'm seeing a lot of things, a lot of news popping up on YouTube talking about all of these ranchers across the Southwest, especially here in Texas, having to sell their cattle. And there's something that I think is going on, and it makes sense to me because I think the powers that be know that we're having climate change, we're having global warming, we're having these horrible droughts. And I think, in a way, they're trying to force people, but force people in a way that doesn't seem like government regulation or the government having a hand in it, to get rid of things that are unsustainable. Cattle, for example, are unsustainable. They take a lot of water, they produce a lot of methane that contributes to global warming. It takes a lot of feed, which also needs a lot of water to produce. And a lot of the feed that the cattle eat are products that humans can eat, such as corn and grains and things like that that humans need. And I think that what we're going to see in the future is governments are going to start secretly but underhandedly figuring out ways they can force people who raise unsustainable crops and cattle and things like that to be eventually bankrupted out of the market. Because the people that are in the know, the people in the governments, they understand that farmers want to make money. And the way farmers make money is they grow crops or raise cattle that make the most money. Well, a lot of the crops, and especially the cattle, because of the drought and because of climate change, they're just unsustainable. For example, like in Southern California, there's people over there growing fruits and vegetables, and especially nuts. Some of these nuts require the fields to be flooded constantly in order to grow these nuts. And that's not sustainable. But the farmers do it because they make a lot of money off of these nuts. And if you're the government and you want to stop people from raising unsustainable crops, even though they're valuable crops, but they don't really contribute a lot, you know that if you intentionally say, we're stopping you, then there's going to be an uprising. But if you say, well, because of the drought, we're going to start cutting back on water allocation, then you force people to do what you want them to do without them actually knowing that you want them to do it. Because they say, well, this is not sustainable. I can't afford this. I can't make money. I'm not getting the water that I used to get. I'm going to get rid of these nuts. I'm going to tear these trees down. And in the case of cattle, I know a lot of people have seen out there where they're pushing all these ads about insects as the new food. And I even seen an article where somebody was talking about cannibalism. But the thing that you got to think about is, if you want farmers to get rid of their cows, then the market, in a way, because of the drought, will do what you want them to do. Hay prices are through the roof. These farmers can't afford to water or feed these cows, so they have to sell them. And that's a way to get people to quit producing these unsustainable crops and herds, because the farmers need to make money, and if they can't make money, then they're going to do something else. And like, I'm hearing a lot where people are talking about where the government's paying farmers to leave their fields unplowed and unplanted. And the reason why they do that is because they don't want to use the water. So eventually it's going to get to the point where we need to grow things that people eat. We don't need to grow corn that we feed to cows. We don't need to grow grains that we feed to cows. We need to feed people. People are more important than cows. So in a way, you just let the markets kind of play out, and you stop subsidizing the farmers, the cattle ranchers, the people that are growing these unsustainable crops. You stop subsidizing, or you make rules where they're not allowed to have so much water, And then eventually the problem will work out and the government won't be considered the bad guy. So it makes a lot of sense to me. I think we're going to see more of this in the future, especially as the drought and climate change gets worse. I think a lot of small town farmers are going to be pushed out, and then we're only going to see like large, like, because people are still going to want their beef and they're still going to want, you know, steaks and hamburger meat and all that stuff. But what they'll do it is, you know, there'll be 2 or 3 corporations that produce all the beef in America. And it'll be done in ways that can be more managed. Because when you have thousands of little farmers out there, a lot of them don't manage their land properly. They waste a lot of water. They waste a lot of things that they shouldn't be wasting. So when you do it on a larger scale, you can do it cheaper, and you can also have less waste because you're regulating it more. And I think that's what we're going to see. And I think in the future, it's something that's going to happen, because I know a lot of people say, oh, well, it's summertime, it gets hot in the summer, and then it goes away, and droughts happen and they go away. But like, if you look at what's happening in Lake Mead, this is not something that just started. This is something that began in 2000, and it's a 22-year-old drought. What's happened here in Texas, what people don't realize is, especially here in South Texas, we don't have really lakes. We have a few little lakes, but most of our water is underground. And the problem is, with all the fracking in West Texas and all the population growth, we're depleting those water sources. So you have to figure out ways to sustain the population. And in order to do that, you have to stop these ranchers and these people that are producing unsustainable crops to go away. And you just do that by pulling away the water or pulling away the subsidies. And like I said, it works its way out in the end, because you have to admit, it doesn't matter what side you're on, whether you're Republican or Democrat, people are more important than animals. We need corn to feed people, not corn to feed cattle. There's a lot of other animals out there that are more sustainable. Goats are more sustainable. Pigs are more sustainable. I think eventually they're going to try to get us off beef and get us on to other animals that are more sustainable. This is just my opinion. Leave comments in the section and give me your opinion. This is Dave's Always Izzles. Bye.